Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So I'm continuing to answer a lot of your questions as I go through all the comments, writing everything down. So this one has been asked about a lot. Is inner union just bliss? So once you anchor into inner union, which is a higher state of consciousness, are you just in sort of this, constant state of bliss? So I can only speak from my own experience, and I think a lot of other divine feminines who have reached this point of inner union, but certainly other people that I have known throughout my path who have also reached this point who are not experiencing a twin flame dynamic. I feel that I can speak for as well. So I wouldn't say that this is a permanent state of bliss. No. I would say that it is a peaceful state. I would say that it is a state of just freedom. And I use that word a lot, and I don't think that we really know what freedom actually feels like until we are consistently in it. So inner union, really, like I say, this is a higher state of consciousness. This is when you have anchored into unity consciousness, which is simply a higher vibration. That vibration, it simply operates at a harmonious state. It operates at a state of oneness and peace and freedom and harmony and abundance and all of those things that you guys have heard me talk about. I wouldn't consider that to be like a constant state of bliss, no. Because that's implying, because when we think about bliss, that's implying that we're in a constant state of happiness. Happiness is fleeting, just as sadness is fleeting. So I would say that there are certainly moments of bliss that you feel. And I would say that those moments of bliss are probably in more of the beginning stages of anchoring into inner union. And I think that we translate this feeling of relief as bliss. We translate this feeling of, once all of these heavy densities and fear-based energies start to collapse and start to fall away more and more and more, your energy body becomes lighter. Literally, it becomes lighter. You feel lighter. And when you start embodying this lightness and it starts becoming what you are again, because you've released all of these fear-based energies, it feels a lot like relief. It feels like, the chitter chatter of the mind is now quieted. The emotional pain body has quieted. The pullings of like, I have to go here and I have to do this and I have to do this, and that starts quieting. And so really it's like you start moving into this space that just feels more peaceful, right? It just feels very balanced within, like your feminine and masculine within is very balanced. Nothing is sort of yanking you around anymore. And in the beginning, that can feel blissful because we have become so used to always feeling like we're being yanked around all the time. Our thoughts are up and down and up and down. We're always like going round and round with the ego and other people and all sorts of stuff. Generally the 3D kind of just yanks us around like a Raggedy Ann doll. Most of the time, but we become so used to that we don't know any different. And so when you start to shift into inner union, you start to be like, oh, there's a whole other frequency that I remember. How did I forget what this felt like? And it just starts to feel like you're not heavy anymore. You're not carrying around like sort of the weight of the world anymore. And that can have these sort of blissful moments of like giddiness, I guess, or like, these heightened states of like, wow, like, that sort of thing. Yes, that certainly can happen. But I wouldn't say that is just a constant state at all. I would say that the constant state of inner union, which is this higher consciousness state of unity consciousness, is just sort of just feeling free. Yeah, it's just this place of feeling just free. It's just lightness, you know, and it is a neutral state, but it isn't a boring neutral state. It isn't the neutrality that we start to like weave in and out of when we're like kind of in the void, and then we're in neutrality, and then it kind of comes back around again, and you're just like, this feels really weird. I don't really like how the void feels, or I don't really like how neutrality feels. You know, there's no passion, there's no highs and lows, right? We're addicted to the highs and lows in the 3D. It's how that construct runs, is high and low and high and low and high and low, right? And it's always like yanking your nervous system around, and it's keeping your nervous system, you know, dysregulated and all these sort of things. But we're accustomed to that. And so when you start feeling like just, you know, weightless in a way and light, and that nothing is really yanking you out of alignment anymore, it can feel just like, it's kind of like, what is this? You know, what is this energy, and where has it been? So it just feels like you just don't have, I mean, it's so hard to explain a lot of these aspects of moving into those higher states of consciousness because they're so experiential. But you'll know it when you get there, and when you get there, it'll be like, damn, I wish I could have figured this out sooner. It's not up to your mind though. It's your ego that's going to say that. But there are definitely those moments of just like, moments of bliss. But mostly it's a state of feeling free. It's a state of feeling just like, you know, nothing is really yanking you around anymore. You know, the thoughts don't have control of you anymore. The emotional pain body doesn't have control of you anymore. You're very much in just the presence of everything, and you feel very much in oneness with everything. And so in that way, that's just this deep, deep interconnectedness that we had to release to experience the 3D, you know. And so when you have to release that oneness that we are as souls in order to experience the separation in 3D, and then suddenly you find yourself shifting back into that oneness, it feels a lot like home. Yeah, it feels a lot like home. And I would say certainly in the beginning, you know, it can definitely bring a lot of tears up for a lot of people. This is a very normal, you know, reaction, just to feel like you're finally home again. And it's definitely a similar energy that you felt in that initial stage with the twin. That initial stage with the twin, which, you know, if you're on a twin flame path, you will have felt, no matter how short it is, no matter if it was energetic or if it was with the physical twin. It's always energetic, but no matter if the physical twin was present or not, when you felt this, that energy that came over you, right, is that feeling of being reconnected with source, with God, creation, all that is, whatever verbiage we want to use. And we're seeing that energy reflected back to us through the twin. This is what makes that feel so enthralling, is because it's like you're seeing a glimpse of what you are, right? You're seeing a glimpse of source, God, creation. And in that, you know, that short momentary time with the twin in those beginning stages, they are reflecting back to you that you are that. And so that's why you're feeling this incredible energy come over you, which is also why when the twin runs, it feels so tragic, right? This is what kicks in the dark night, right? So when you come into inner union, it's very similar to that, but it isn't because it's being reflected back to you from anyone, from the twin anymore. It's because it's your embodiment again. And so you're not looking for the twin to reflect back to you that energy that you felt when you were with them in the beginning. Now you've come back into the remembrance, into the knowing that that energy is you. and that you are always connected to God, source, creation, all that is. And so if we want to like kind of describe it in a way that we could potentially remember what we felt like in that initial stage with the twin, that would be the closest that I could say that it feels like to describe inner union and that higher state of consciousness. It's an amazing feeling, feeling. It's just your energy, right? It's just that you're back, and it's not that you're in alignment with anything, it's that you're back into what you are, right? What you are. So now you're vibrating back in your higher states of consciousness, and you're not vibrating in the 3D paradigm of separation and fear anymore. Now you're vibrating in unity and harmony and freedom. So hopefully that makes some sense, guys, and answers your question. I hope you guys have an awesome day.